Okay, we're learning for Skusser for Shlema for Necha Yenta Bas Rivka Rachel. She was in this car accident in New Hampshire. It was for Shlema. Okay, new parak. Again, we finished with Sukkah, the halachas of Sukkah, and now we're going to deal with all the halachas of Lulav, the Dalamid, and basically till the end of the Masechta. So the pasuk says in by Yikra Chav Gimel pasuk Mem, "Ulakachtem lochem b'yom harishon." You should take for yourself on the first day. Pre-Eitz Hadar, that's an esrig. Kapais Tamarim, that's a lulav. Vanaf Eitz Avos, that's a hadassim. The Avri Nochel, that's a rabbis. Usmachtem l'fnei Hashem Elokeichem. You should be sameach l'fnei Hakadosh Baruch Hu shivas yomim 7 days. So the pasuk seems to be a little need an explanation. It says ulakachtem lochem b'yom rishon, and then it says usmachtem l'fnei Hashem Elokeichem shivas yomim 7 days. So really, we're going to see Bez Hashem that the mitzvah of lulav midaraisa was only 1 day, b'medina. Outside of the Beis Hamikdash, it was only 1 day. Inside the Beis Hamikdash, lifnei Hashem, usmachtu lifnei Hashem l'keichem shivas yamim. When it was lifnei Hashem, then it was 7 days. But when it was what b'yom rishon, 1 day, then it was what in the Medina. Came along Rabbi Yochanan and Zakkai after the Churban Bayis. Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai was the leader of world Jewry at the time after the Churban Bayis, as we saw in the Gemara at the end of Gittin. And he made a zeicher that we shouldn't forget the Beis Hamikdash, that we take the lulav for 7 days. We take the lulav 7 days. So it comes out, the first day is the Raisa, and the other 6 are the Rabbanan. And it has a tremendous nafkaminas in halacha, as we'll see. So therefore, that's speaking about midaraisa, whether in the Beis Hamikdash or Medina. That's speaking in the Beis Hamikdash, right? And the Medina mid the Rabbanan. So this, guys, this daf is so packed. It's just packed. It's beyond packed. So I'm going to go through the dot. I'm going to focus today on Gezula, but we're going to have to bring in the Indian of Yavesh to understand a big question. Says the Mishnah, lulav hagazal, a stolen lulav, Yavesh, and a lulav that is dried out. It's big machlokes what dried out is. Puzzle. It's puzzle. You can't use it. It's puzzle. It's not good. Shalashera. If it's now, why is a lulav gazel puzzle? We're going to see in the Gemara. We're going to see in the Gemara because of nid lachem, lakachtam lachem. But that would only be b'yom rishon on the first day. What about the other 6 days? We'll see. The hayavesh puzzle. What's the psul of yavesh? Says Rashi, the be'inin mitzvah mehuderes. You need a mitzvah that is mehuder, that is glorified, that is beautiful. The chsiv v'anveil. Zekeli v'anveil. We'll get back to this. Shalashera, a tree that had been dina as an avodah zara, the shel irni dachas, or a city that the majority of the Jews was avodah zara. Now all these have to be burnt. Shalashera has to be burnt, and irni dachas has to be burnt. Puzzle. Now they're puzzled for a very interesting reason, guys. The Gemara is going to say tute michtach shiura. Since they have to be burnt, they're considered burnt, so you don't have the shear. You don't have the shear. And the very famous question in Tosfos is, why do you need that reason if you have the reason of mitzvah ba'ba avera? Why do you need a limud to tell me they're not good? Why are they not good? Because of mitzvah ba'ba avera. We'll see Bez Hashem. Nechtam roishai, if the top is lopped off, again, these we'll all get back to. I just want to go through the Mishnah because we're going to focus today on Gezula and Hidur. Nechtam roishai, if the top is lopped off, the middle, the tiumis, which is the middle of the lulav. Nifitzu olav, if its leaves are disconnected from the shidra, puzzle. Nifdu olav, if they're connected to the shidra, to the spine of the lulav, but they just spread out, then kasha, then it will be kasha. Go ahead and you should tie it above. He holds it's a lack of hidur if they're spread out like a broom. So therefore you go ahead and tie them above, and they should be connected to the shidra. Sine harabazel, lulav that come from this place harabazel, ksheros a kosher, despite having very short leaves. Again, we'll see this. And lulav sheyesh b'shleishet tfachim kedei l'anei b'kasha. The share of a lulav, guys, is 4 tfachim. Let's do this Rashi. Kedei l'anei ba. The Farish Bigamara shleishet tfachim dehei shidra. 3 tfachim should be the spine of the lulav. Kineged orcha shel hadas, which is the length of the hadas. For tefach yoser and 1 tefach more. In order that you should go ahead and be able to shake it. Because you need ninua, kidul kamon, Mailu Umayrid, up and down, maybe back and forth, lots of ruches rois with Chloim Roim to stop the bad winds and the bad tal. Okay, we'll see that Bez Hashem. Okay, but the focus today is going to be on Lulav Hagazel, a stolen Lulav, and we're going to get into Yavesh, an Indian of Yavesh. Says the Gemara, Kapasik Vitani, the Mishnah made no distinction. Loishna b'yantav Rishain, Loishna b'yantav Sheni. No difference between the Yantav Rishain and no difference between Yantav Sheni. Now we know, guys, that this Yantav Rishain, Yantav Sheni, now this is according to Rashi and Tosfos. Other Rishonim, there's a very sophisticated pshat. It's speaking about Yom Tov Sheni Shel Goliath. But here we're speaking about Pashit, Yom Sheni means the second day of Sukkot. The second meaning Cholamoid. Cholamoid. There's no difference between the first day of Sukkot and Cholamoid. In all cases, it appears if what? If it's puzzle. You didn't make a distinction between the first day where it says L'kachtem Lachem and the other days, the Samachtem V'Yashem L'kechem Shivas Yamim, which we all know is the Rabbanon because of the Gezerah of what? Zeichel Amigdash of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. There's no distinction. If it's what? There's no, both Gezula and Yevesh, Vesha apostle. That's it. You made no distinction between the two. Now it says the Gemara, Bishle me Yavesh. Very good if it's dry. Hadar be'inen. You need hadar. You need an esrog to be beautiful. Veleka, and you don't have it. Ela gozel, stolen. Bishle me yatem mishin dichsiv lachem v'lekachtem lachem mishal lachem. Ela b'yom tov sheni amay loy. Yom tov sheni, why not? So you could ask the various question, guys. The same way that Hadar you need all 7 days, despite the other days being the Rabbanon. Gezula also you would need all 7 days, right? Why is the Gemara assuming this is a distinction? The bottom Tosfos is the Kasha, and L'chayra makes the distinction between where there's psul in the etzem cheftza, where the psul is in the lulav itself, versus the psul is in the gavra. What's the chesaron, guys, of a lulav that is the yavesh? There's nothing wrong with the person. In the etzem chayfetz of the mitzvah, the object of the mitzvah, there's a problem with it. Conversely, what's wrong with the gezula? Not the lulav is the same lulav, but since he stole it in the person, so therefore there's a svara to say that it should be kasha, and you need a limit for it. That's the distinction between hadar and yavesh. It's a mitzvah ba ba'avera, and therefore what? And therefore it's possible. So it comes out the first day of Sukkot. The reason why you can't use the stolen lulav is because it says what? It says v'lakachtem lachem mishalachem. The other days is all a din of mitzvah haba ba'avera, that you can't use it because mitzvah haba ba'avera. Why can't you use v'lakachtem lachem the other days as well? Right? Because the other days we know you can go ahead and use a she'ula, guys. The first day I can't borrow a lulav. The latter 6 days I could. Since I can be yotze with a borrowed lulav, I would think you can go ahead and be yotze with a stolen lulav. Kemash malon, it's a mitzvah ba'ava avera. Okay, we're going to go through this and then we'll see a little raid over here. Shenemar, where do you know mitzvah ba'ava avera from? Notice the pasuk is a pasuk of Malachi. It says, Ve'vesim gozel ves apiseach ves achoyla. You're speaking about karbonis, guys. And you should bring a stolen carbon, a hinkatika carbon. It's a carbon that has a mum and it's an animal. Now we're making a comparison. Gozel dumya de piseach. You're making what? A comparison between a stolen and a piseach and a crippled. Ma piseach, just like a crippled animal that has a mum, lesle takanta. We're speaking about, guys, a mum kavua, a blemish that's kavua in the animal, and there's no getting away from it. Afgaza lesle takanta. So too gazela doesn't have a takanta. Now, l'chayra, using certain halachas, there should be a tikkun. There's a concept, guys, called yush. When the owner gives up hope, he says, "Vaylei l'chisar and kiss." Woe is to me. There's an opinion that yush alone, without any other factor, is kaina. So if I would steal something, I could acquire the object. It doesn't mean I wouldn't have to pay for it. Of course, I'd have to pay for it. But le'inyan bilis, le'inyan being considered mine, it would be already considered mine. So therefore, l'chora, why isn't yish good enough over here? Says the Gemara, Loishna lifnei yish, loishna la'achi yish. What's the difference? Bishleimer lifnei yish, good before yish. The reason why you can't use a lulav, adam kiyakar, or a carbon, adam kiyakar mikem amrachmana. The Torah says you have to bring your own carbon. V'lavdi dehu, since the owner did not give up hope, the one you stole the carbon from, he didn't give up hope. Therefore, what it is, it's a good carbon. It's not a good carbon because it's what it's not yours. Elacha yish hakanya b'yish. So again, this is kashas according to Rabbi Yomar that says yish alone, without any other factor, will place it in your rishus to be considered the owner that you're bringing mikem, Yaakov mikem. Why don't you say that? So there must be another reason. It must be because what? It's a mitzvah ba'avera. It must be it's a mitzvah ba'avera. Okay. V'am Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Mishum Ben Yochai, Mai Dechsiv Keni Hashem Oyev Mishpat. I am Hashem who loves Mishpat. Soine Gezel Ba'oila. So I hate Gezel Ba'oila. That's the pasuk in Yeshaya. Mashal Lamelech Basav Adam. Amasa, the king, Shu Oiver Al Beis HaMeches. He's passing by the toll. Let's say it's the head of the Port Authority that's going over the George G.W. Bridge, right? The head of he ain't paying anything. And he decides to pay. Amar, Avada, he says to the guys who serve him, why are you giving mechus to your tax collectors? The tax collector who's collecting money at the toll booth is working for the head of the Port Authority. Why do you have to pay? And so to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Lashem Aretz Malaya, the world belongs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Amulai, what does the king say? They say Amulai to the king, who? So the king says to them, everyone who passes over the bridge will know they won't go ahead and try to go ahead and skip the toll. They'll learn from me. So that they shouldn't go ahead and steal. Because again, even though it belongs to me, now you're stealing. If you want to bring it to me, you'll learn that not to. Just like you pay the mechas, you shouldn't. Okay, so the bottom line is, mitzvah, it's the other 6 days, the mitzvah, we're learning out from Lulav. There's such an idea of mitzvah ba'avera. We learn it out from a carbon, and we're applying it to the other days of Chol Hamoed, that it's not where you yoitzu with a she'ula, so you might think you're yoitzu with a gezula, and there's no chesaron of lachem, because lachem is only said beyond rishon, so they have a mela, but I know it's mitzvah ba'avera, and that's why I'm not yoitzu the other days. Okay? In Manami, we learned as well that one, a mitzvah ba'avera, the other days mitzvah ba'avera, Amravami, Yavesh pasel she'ein hadar, a Yavesh is pasel because it's not beautiful, and Gazel pasel mishum da'avlei mitzvah haba ba'avera. And a Gazel will be pasel because what? It's a mitzvah haba ba'avera. Okay, so Upligid Rabbi Yitzchak, they argue Rabbi Yitzchak, Ranachmeni Amashmuel Loishanu Ela b'Yom Tov Rishon. The whole din of Gezul is only the first day. Abu Yom Sheni mitoch sheyoytze b'shol yoytze nami b'gazel. Just like you can be yoytze with a stolen, with a borrowed, you can be yoytze out with a stolen. So now, apparently, you might say that Rabbi Shmuel is of the opinion that mitzvah ba'avera doesn't apply. Guys, outside. First day, everyone says it's off the chart, right? Lachem, you need lachem, shula, gezula is out. You got 6 more days, right? We have your Chol Hamoed. All the days of Chol Hamoed. Now, Chol Hamoed, you're gonna have your lulav, stolen lulav. What's the halacha? Says Rabbi Yochanan, the halacha is it's pasal. When the Mishnah says pasal, when it says pasal in the Mishnah, it means all 7 days. It's pasal. First day because of Yom Rishon, the second day is because of mitzvah ba'avera. Says Shmuel, when the Mishnah said the lulav hagazel, the yavish pasal, lulav hagazel meant it's only pasal for the first day. Einachinami, all the other days, that's only zeichel and migdash, that's only the rabbanon, it would be okay. So 2 ways to learn pshat in the Mishnah, totally different ways. A lulav hagazel, pasal, what does that mean? Says Rabbi Yochanan, all 7 days. First day for one reason, other 6 for another reason. Says Rabbi Shmuel, only 1 day. Only 1 day it's pasal. The other days it's not. What about mitzvah ba'avera? So look at the bottom taisus. Got some heavy duty taisus in over here. Kidar Kana will do the little one. So sheyaytza b'shol yaytza b'gazel hacha dafka shumid rabbanon. Since over here, the other 6 days, it's only a Zeichel Migdash, it's the Rabbanon, Lechayish HaMitzvah Ba'Avera. He's not Chayish for a Mitzvah Ba'Avera, guys. He's not Chayish Mitzvah Ba'Avera. So Shmuel holds of it, but only in a derisive situation, he won't hold in a Rabbanon situation. That's the Machlokes between Rabbi Yochanan and, okay. So getting back to we assume that Yavesh, guys, is totally okay, right? We assume the Yavesh is a din of Hadar, it's good, it works, it's wonderful. You know what? I'm going to finish the daf. Let me finish the daf and then we'll go back, okay? We'll finish the daf and then we'll hit two Nakudis. Okay. Now, again, there's a din of Yush. Yush, the first time you heard of it, guys, was when you learned with your kid Elam Etzias. I'm assuming you don't remember when you learned Elam Etzias. So the first time you learned it was when you learned with your kid Elam Etzias, right? That something comes to your hand. Lefnei Yush, it's Yush Lemidas. Before, after Yush, it's yours. It came to your hand beheter. When it comes to your hand be'isr, because you stole it, there's a question whether Yush is koina or not. Now, again, koina means to be the owner of it. You're going to have to go ahead and pay the guy back. Yush koina doesn't mean if I steal something from you, it's mine. Ha, 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 ha. No, I'm going to have to pay you. The question is, do I have to pay you the object or not? Now, there's a din of a Heshav as a Gzela, Ashagozal, Kain Shagozal. If you didn't change it, we'll get to that Bez Hashem when we get to Perik Meruba or a Goizel Eitzim in Baba Kama. But right now, for all intents and purposes, all we need to know is the following. There's a man who says, Yish Kedi is Kaina, Yish alone is Kaina, and you're the owner of the object, even by Gzela. There's a man who says, no, in addition to Yish, you need something else. You need another factor. One factor might be a change of jurisdiction, called Shinoi Rishus. Another one might be a change of name, Shinoi Shem. Another one might be an intrinsic change in the object itself, Shinu Maisa. These factors that I just mentioned, these Shrinuyim, plus the Yush, will place it in your Rishus. Okay? With that in mind, let's begin. Masir Rav Nachman Yitzchak, Lulav Agazal Vayavish Pasal, Hashal Kasher. Now, a gazula is puzzle and a yavesh is puzzle, right? But a borrowed is okay. Now, guys, when is the borrowed okay? Day one or the other days? The other days, right? Day two. Because the first day you need what? The lakachtem lachem. So borrowed is not good, right? On the first day. Emas, when is borrowed good? If you're going to say on the first day, haksiv lachem. It says for you. That means what? Mishal lachem. It's got to be from your own. So shol is not good the first day. So when the Mishnah says, makes the diak, lulav agazal yavish pasol, and shol is good, it can't be speaking on the first day. It must be speaking on the second day. Elalav b'yom sheni. Fikatani gazal pasol. We got a bomb kasha on Shmuel. Guys, getting back to our machlokes. Said Rabbi Yochanan, when the Mishnah said gazul is pasol, what did it mean? It meant the first day and the other days, pasol. Therefore, very good. Gazul is possible all the days. Shol is not, because the other days is mitzvah ba'avera, right? And according to Shmuel, it doesn't exist the other days. So now, going back to the Mishnah, look back to the Mishnah, guys. Lulav agazul yavish pasal. It must be speaking on day number 2, correct? Why? Because you're telling me shol would be good, yes? Yet it says that gazul is pasal on day number 2. Kasha and Shmuel says it's mutter on day number 2. Gazal, according to Shmuel, is only 1 day. But from this, if you made diet that shol is good, borrowed is good, then it must be speaking day number 2, because borrowed on the first day is no good. If it's day number 2 and the Mishnah says it's puzzle, it's a kasha on Shmuel who says that what it's kasha. I'm not convinced that I spoke so loudly that you understand it better. Should I go over the kasha one more time? One more time. Okay. Shmuel said that when the Mishnah said that the first day it's puzzle, that when it's puzzle, that the gazul is puzzle, it means only 1 day. That's it. Day 1. That's it. Only day 1. Day number 2, it's good. I'm going to prove to you when the Mishnah says gazula, it means even day number 2. How am I going to prove that to you? From a Pashut Diuk. It says gazula no good, yavesh no good. Those are no good. Shol, but borrowed, is good. But borrowed is good. When's borrowed good? Must be day number 2. If it's day number 2, you're telling me that guzzle is puzzle? 1 second. Shmuel, you told me day number 2 puzzle is kasha. That's the question. So Omar Rava gives us a teretz. La'olam b'yom tov rishon. It's speaking on the first day, right? And now it doesn't mean that what v'loimi boy kama loimi boy shol delavdi dehu. Not only is shol not good, aval gozel emastam gazeli yishbayim hu uchididei dami kamash balon. Guys, the chiddush of the Mishnah, the diuk that you made is not the diuk that you made. Go back to the Mishnah. Lulav gozel v'yavish pasol, but she'ula would be good. That's not the diuk. Lulav gozel is pasol and yavish is pasol, and shol is also pasol. So what's the chiddush? The chiddush is that gazel is pasol, because you would have thought Inyan becoming the owner of the lulav. Good, if I borrow it, I'm not. But if I steal it, I might become the owner. If I steal it, I might become the owner. Kemash malon, that what? That no. Kemash malon, that you're not the owner, and yish is not koina, and you're pasol. Because you need lachem. You need lachem. Okay, and you don't have it. Kamash malon. Kamash malon, that what? It's pasol. Amalu Rav Huna Hanu Avankari. These are Avankari. These are guys. These are peddlers. Rashi says Avankari. Tagre kol dava lahaska boy. They're going to go ahead what and sell anything. You know the guys go around the yeshivas. They have bags. They're selling trinkets. Go to Eretz Yisrael. You see guys in the shuls. They have tables set up in front of them. You'll find every single thing. It's like a buyout from. It's like an Amazon, Target. What's that on Avenue M? Amazing savings all wrapped up into one. They're selling everything. So these are vankari. These guys sell everything. Tagre kol dov l'staka, but could go in kalim, ketanim, small kalim, machtim, needles, umasrikois, combs, vilulavim. They're selling trinkets and they're selling lulavim. You go to the table, lulavim. The koirin marnish. So now, Rav Huna was giving them advice. Rav Huna was giving them advice when they're buying hadassim to go ahead and make sure these hadassim are squeaky clean, that there's no ifs, ands, or buts regarding their lineage being kosher. What's his advice? When you buy the hadassim from the goyim, like tigzazu oisan, don't you cut them. Ella ligzuzu inhu, let them cut it. V'yavlechu, and give it to you. Okay, let's see what happened. What's wrong with them cutting it? It might be the act of cutting is an act of gezela. If it's an act of gezela, then you might have a mitzvah ba'avera problem. If the Jew cuts it. If the guy cuts it, then the guy is stealing it, and now the owner gave up hope. Now, when it goes over to the hands of the Avankari, you have Yush and Shina Rishus, and therefore you won't have a problem. Says the Gemara, my timer, Stama goy, or possibly that he's on what? Stolen land, I'm at base. He's possibly on stolen land. V'karka ein exeles. Karka, guys, karka is not acquired by the Gaza. Look at Rashi. The karka ein exeles. I'm not looking at the Tosfos. Look at the Rashi. Kloimar. Eina knuya legazlin. It's not acquired by the Gazlan b'shum yish. The lo'olam b'cheskas bailam hi. The mikroi nafla b'goizel basra b'nezikin. So in other words, karka and exelis doesn't mean physically it's not stolen, meaning halachically it's not stolen. It's when it says in an exelis means it's never acquired by the Gazlan that he should be called the owner. Guys, you hear? Karka and exelis doesn't mean physically you can't steal it. It means that halachically it's never called the owner of the one who steals it. Imkain, if that's the case, continues Rashi, once you cut it, have a gezel, then it's considered stolen because it's not part of the karka anymore. As soon as it's detached from the mechubur, it's not part of the karka anymore. And the one who goes ahead and disattached it, he's stealing it. Let them go ahead and cut it. Then they're the gazlanim. V'yenu lachem, and they'll give it to you. Sheyu hang ha gazlanim. The goyim are the gazlanim who cut it. V'atem loichim v'samehem, and you are going ahead and acquiring it from them. V'abayim nisyashu kavar. Owners gave up hope. They gave up hope a long time ago. They're giving up hope didn't help for the karka, but it does help for what? For the metaltalin. Mikol haperis v'avayish etzlam v'yachkach u'mishtanim rishusam l'rishuschem u'kasava yish grei the leikana. The yish alone is not enough. Aval yish v'shina rishus koina. right? So very geschmack. So first Peshat, guys, outside. Said Rav Huna, when you go ahead and buy hadassim from the goyim, go ahead and let them cut it. Why? Because if you cut it, you're the gazlan, you're stealing. And then when you're going to sell it, so l'chayra, that's a shini rishus. The Gemara is going to ask that in a second. That's a shini rishus. So l'chayra, so therefore you won't have, you're the gazlan, and therefore the yish that wouldn't help because you need shini rishus in addition. So going ahead, if the goyim do it, then they're the gazlanim. You already had yish from the baalim, and now when they're given to you, it's shina rishus. So everything's great. Everything's great. Back in the Gemara. Hilkach legavze inhu. Let them go ahead and cut it. Ki heichi de lahabe yish bailim biyadaihu. That the yish bailim should be in the hands of the goyim. Did who? The shina rishus biyadaihu and shina rishus in your rishus. And right, and the chayv, it's very good. Even if the avankri would cut it, it's yish bailim in their hands, and when they sell it to him, it's in other words, what is the person who is buying it gaining? Guys, I go ahead, I'm an avankri, and I go ahead and Yankel Sukkah is buying from me. I go to Yankel Sukkah, two things happen. This yish bailim because the owner gave up hope, and the shina rishus. What's the difference if the shina rishus was from the guy to me, or the shina rishus was from me to him? You're getting both. So l'chayra, what are you gaining? You have yish and shina rishus. Everyone holds yish and shina rishus is kaina. So what are you gaining by having the guy cut? And for the Gemara, I'll tell you what you're gaining. Like tzricha by shanada avankari gufayo. For me, lays the stern who's buying from the avankari. If I cut it, then I have a problem. Because if I keep it, I only have yish, I don't have shina rishus. Masha'inkin, if he cuts it, right? He cuts it, the one, and then he's the gazlan, and then it comes to me, I have shina rishus, then the one I keep for myself, I could be yitzawat hadassim with. So the Eitzer of Huna wasn't for Yankel Sukkah, the Eitzer of Huna was for me. Like tzricha b'shanta de vankri gufayo. Fred Gemara v'liknuya b'shina ma'isa. Why do you need shina rishus? Why shina ma'isa? Why? Because what are you doing? You're taking it and you're attaching it to the lulav. But the act of attaching to the lulav alone. So without selling it, l'chayish b'kain. As I told you, once you have yish plus one of these factors, it works. It says the merkasav lulav ain't tzarich eged. You don't have to put it together. You can hold it together. Only review that says tzarich eged means what? To put the shanta, to put the whole thing together, to put the aravis and the dasim together on the lulav, you don't need. So memela, there's no shini maisa. If you needed it, there will be a shini maisa. You're changing it from a das to a shanta. And even if you're going to say it's lulav tzarich eged, and you want to tiny it's a shina maisa, it's shina achaz lebriyasahu. It's a shina that goes back to what to the way it was created. And the shina achaz lebriyasahu leishmei shina. Guys, let's say you go ahead. I steal wood from Benji. I steal 4 pieces of wood and a board. I go home. I take the board. I take the wood, and I bang in 4 nails, and I got a table. Is that shina maisa? Once you take the shina maisa would have been had I sanded it down and polished it and carved it, that would have been shina maisa. But if I left it in that state, all you have to do is take out the nails. It's shinu echaz lebriyasa. It goes back to what it once was, and that's not a shinu. So memela, Fred, the Gemara's question whether it's shinu maisa is an other option that Rav Huna did not have to give his option is not a kasha because the shach. Either the eged is not a shina maisa, and even if it is a shina maisa, it's a shina maisa that goes back to what it once was, because once you untie it, you still have a dasim and a ravis, they didn't change at all. Fred the Gemara, the lekluya b'shina hashem. Why aren't you koine with shina hashem? Right? The mikara havele asa. Originally it was called an asa, a myrtle. V'hashta hishanta, and now it's called a hishanta. It says Rashi, al shem shiragilon lo oigdon hishana b'chag. They would tie it, they walk around with Aishana, that was called Aishana. Says the Gemara, Aishana mikari nami la'asa Aishana kurli. La'asa Aishana kurli. It's not enough. But initially, what it's called, it's called. Okay, so let's go back over what we said today. Lulav agazl yavish pasal. We didn't get into the psul of yavish, we just simply said what? It's a chesron of hada, we'll get into a second. Regarding the halacha of the lulav, we have machloikus between Rabbi Yochanan and Shmuel. Like Rabbi Yochanan, it's possible the first day as lachem. Like Shmuel, it's possible al first day as lachem. The other days the yontif. Like Rabbi Yochanan, it's possible because mitzvah b'aveira. Shmuel says since it's only zeicha lemigdash, why it's the rabbanon we don't say mitzvah b'aveira, and we mutawad all the other days. Now let's you mind a few minutes. Covered Shabbos Kodesh, the covered new parak. Guys, says Rashi in our Mishnah, Yavesh, the boinin mitzvah muhuderes tichsev anveyu. Freg toisvis. Sek, lulav Yavesh pasel tap toisvis. Mufarish begemara mishum the iskish lulav leesrig. It's a hekish to esrig. Tichsev bei hadar, creates hadar, and then it says the kapais tamarim. So we make a hekish between the lulav and the esrig. And just like the esrig needs to be hadar, so too the lulav has to be hadar. This is my God, and I will glorify Him. Guys, when we speak about hidur mitzvah, what do we say? Hisna b'fun of the mitzvahs. Sukkah no, right? Menorah no, Torah no. In other words, you yaitz the mitzvah, and then there's a din in hidur to glorify the mitzvah, make it beautiful. But to go ahead and say that there's a mitzvah that it's ma'akiv, that zekeli v'anveyu is an ikuv that it should be puzzle, that's really schwer to say. To go ahead and pile on a little bit, guys, when do we say zekeli v'anveyu? As Yashia Moshe, right? Before Matan Torah, before there were any other mitzvahs, we said, Zekeli, this is my God Vanveyu. So Bishlema, afterwards you get what mitzvahs, it's past to say, I got a mitzvah, I'll glorify it. But to say the mitzvah itself is a psul, that's Moed Kosher. That's Moed Kosher. So I saw, and it's really shver on Rashi. The Tosfos has this hekish to hadar, it's shver on Rashi. So there's a sefer called Kapis Tamarim, written on Masechta Sukkah, and he wants a taina that in Zek Kelim Aveu there's takatu dinim, and these dinim were given up to the Chachamim. In other words, sometimes it's just b'di'eved, meaning lechatchila, short, should be beautiful, glorify it. If you don't, it's still kosher. And then there's a time the Chachamim say, you know what? No, it's possible. It's no good. Not necessarily it's a din d'oraisa, but it's possible. It's no good. What would the hezbollah be? Why would the Chacham say something's possible? So there's a meiri that my son Yehonason shared with me. It's very geschmack. I have a lulav. It's connected to the top. It looks pretty green. It looks okay. Is it a dairy lulav? Is it something that is like on my trega of a dairy? No, it's not. It's not beautiful green. It's not straight, but it's kosher. There's a mitzvah there. The Chacham say when you have a kosher lulav, guess what? Get a nicer one. Not else the mitzvah, but else hidur. Then there's a second level. There's where something it's a genai for the mitzvah. In other words, it's something that the no would only make it kind of okay. But in itself, it's ugly. You got a lulav that's oisgetricken in Yiddish. Benji, tell him, oisgetricken. It's right, it's dried out. It's dried out. What are you going to say? That it's kosher and get a nicer one? In other words, the Chum will say when it's ugly, when it's not nice, it's a genai, then we don't go ahead and say that it's kosher. That's Zekeli Vaveu is not kosher. So Ken Zayin, that would be the Esmer and Rashi. When Rashi says Zekeli Vaveu, there's two gedarim of it. There's a geder wad of Einachinami, like Tosfos says, like we learned all through Shas, that this is my God, and I glorify Him. I take a mitzvah in the snow in front of a mitzvah, lulav na, sukkah na, mezuzah na, all tzitzis na, all the things. And then there's a madrega where something itself is so intrinsically not nice, like a yavesh. And there the Zekeli Mavei will state that that's not acceptable. Not necessarily that's the raisa. Not necessarily it's the raisa, but it's a din in the Zekeli Mavei. And the hezbollah might be what? That's a din. Now to go on with this Masechta, I always tell you something, and I think it's very important we do this because I say this all the time, and really it's a steer in Tosfos. If you look in Daf Tes, we did this together not too long ago. Daf Tes Amid Aleph, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines up. Gemara was discussing tzitzis. So it says, Gedilan tasa l'cha, l'cha l'shem chayvcha. You should make it l'shem tzitzis. Fred Gemara Hachanami, Chag HaSukkos tasa l'cha, l'shem chayvcha. Again, the shaila was, does the sukkahs have to be l'shma? Machloikas beis Shammai beis Hillel. We pass like beis Hillel. That doesn't have to be the shem sukkah. It has to be the shem sale, but doesn't have to be the shem sukkah. Hahumi boyle l'mutei gezula. That needs to go ahead and go ahead and get a gezula out. If it's gezula, it's no good. Freg Ari Weinrib, I don't know where he is today. Freg Ari Weinrib, ayat mitzvah baba aveira. Says the bottom Tosfos, Hahumi boyle l'mutei gezula. Tema. Typically, mitzvah baba aveira. Why do you need a pasuk to tell me that a sukkah gezula is puzzle? Why don't we say it's puzzle? Because what? It's mitzvah baba aveira. Skip down a few lines. V'yesh leimar, guys. V'yesh leimar, the taima the mitzvah baba aveira lav deraisa el b'drabanan. So mitzvah baba aveira is only what? It's only midrabanan. It's not deraisa, and therefore a sukkah that's stolen. With a sukkah that's stolen, I need a pasuk to tell me that what? That you're not yoitza. Without the pasuk, a mitzvah bava aveira is not enough to passel me. Since it's the rabbanim and the raisa be yoitza. If I need tasel lecha, that you should make it in what? That's stolen. Clearly, Tosfos is of the opinion that mitzvah bava aveira is what? Is the rabbanim. Okay, let's go to us. Lamed Aleph, Lamed Aleph. Lamed Aleph. Why is it puzzle all the other days? Bishleim, the first days, the lulav is puzzle stulim because it says l'kachtel lochem. What about the other days? Says Tosfos, v'adatanya l'kamon perik lulav arava lochem mishalachem lahoitzi es hashol v'es hagazol. Right. So frek Tosfos akasha. Why do I need a pasuk? Ayatz mitzvah b'aveira and for the Gemara mishum shol it's tzricha. The belav lochem nafkalon. You only need a pasuk mishalachem, guys, to teach me that a shol is puzzle. But the pasuk you don't need for a gezula. Why? Because we puzzle as mitzvah haba ba'avera. Guys, if mitzvah ba'avera is only the rabbanon, wouldn't I need a pasuk by lulav also to puzzle? Again, by sukkah we said, what do you do tasalacha? For Tosfos, mitzvah b'aveira, and for Tosfos, it wouldn't be pasal mitzvah b'aveira. Need a pasuk. Says Tosfos over here, but Lachem tells me to be mitzi, shol, and gazel, and for Tosfos, you only need for shol. But gazel, I don't need a pasuk for. It's pasal because get a mitzvah b'aveira. But 1 second, if it's mitzvah b'aveira, of course you need a pasuk. You see from Tosfos over here, guys, that mitzvah b'aveira is deraisa. You have a steer in Tosfos in. Tosfos over there, it's psul d'rabbanan. By sukkah, it's psul d'rabbanan. Over here, by lulav, it's psul d'raisa. Mitzvah ba'aveira is psul d'raisa. That's the way Tosfos is learning. It's a steer in Tosfos. Guys, you with me? You have the diak from Tosfos? So I saw again. It needs a better teretz than this. I saw one mahalach in the Maharam Milublin Maharam in the back. Maharam is underneath the Maharsha. He makes a distinction between doing a mitzvah biyodayim and doing a mitzvah memela. So I stole the sukkah. What does that mean? The guy had a sukkah on an agala, and I threw him off the wagon. I didn't do a mice, right? That's the only case. Because the chayr, if you stole the wood and made it, you'd have what? Yesh and shina rishus and shina maisa, yeah? If you made the sukkah. Anyway, so it's the case of agala. You stole the sukkah. How are you yotze the mitzvah? Not by yodayim. You yotze the mitzvah while sitting in the sukkah. But by lulav, the mitzvah is v'lakachtem lachem. You have to take it with your hands. And for the maram, there's different sugim of mitzvah b'aveira. If the aveira comes as a result of what? Mimela, then it's only the rabbanon, like by sukkah. Masha'enkein, if it comes as a result of biyodayim, when you're doing it with your hands, then taketz b'sul deraisa. Again, that's one of the tuitzim.
There's no kinyan, in effect. You can't be kona. You'll only be. I
don't know. What's your question?
And you can't do that with the sukkah.
What?
So the sukkah, you can't. It's not. You can't be kona with the yad.
Again, where's the kona? You're not. We said you don't need lachem. The psul is the mitzvah b'aveira. You don't. Even before you get to kinyan hesh. Even before you get to kinyan, you don't need a pasuk. You can't be yaitz with it. It's an aveira. Forget, you don't need a kinyan. It's an aveira. That's Taisus Goof, what he's saying. You don't need lachem for that. You don't need to make it yours. Even without lachemi, it's not good. Okay, anyway, everyone should have a great Shabbos. And Bez Hashem, to Motzei Shabbos is going to be 9:45. 9:45 Motzei Shabbos. Thank you for listening.